Is the Jeep Gladiator Mojave the best trim line or model for the Jeep Gladiator? Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Robotive JT. So the big question is the Jeep Gladiator Mojave the best trim level you can get, or the best trim level, period, for the Jeep Gladiator? Now, let me start off in saying I'm biased. I want that to be known right off the top. I am biased. Obviously, I am driving in a Jeep Gladiator Mojave. Now, I've had two others. Both of them were Sport S's. Nothing wrong with that trim, and I have to say, I really did like the Sport S probably about as much as I like the Jeep Gladiator Mojave. Now, that doesn't mean that they're better than the Jeep Gladiator Mojave. Let's just get it out of the way right off. Yeah, I think the Mojave is the best trim level for the Jeep Gladiator for a few reasons. One, the looks of it. I think it looks awesome. The hood, which I wasn't a big fan of before, now I am. I really do like it on the truck. I think it gives it a more aggressive, a meaner stance. And I'm always striving for that in any vehicle that I drive. I don't know why. I'm always looking for a meaner look to the vehicle, either in the form of paint color, accessories added, window tint, lift, wheels and tires, the whole gamut. And I think the Jeep Gladiator Mojave does that, even right out of the box, with room for improvement, of course, in the form of more aggressive tires, or tires that stand out or stick out, poke out a little bit, to give you a little bit of offset. I think that looks best on the Jeep Gladiator altogether, and even better on the Mojave. Now, secondly, you have to kind of look at ride quality, and it is a firmer ride. It gives you more road feel if you're into that. You can tell when I'm going over the bumps, it is pretty firm, and that's because of the setup with the Mojave. It has a firmer, more aggressive, I'll call it, suspension setup. We have the Fox shocks and all that stuff on here, and it definitely does make the ride a little bit more firm. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. That may be the only area for me where the Mojave might actually fall behind the Sport S. You know, I've driven both, obviously. And the other day we got in the Sport S. My mother has my Sport S. And went for a ride. And I have to say, even as a passenger, it just felt smoother. It felt like more of a glidey ride, if that's a word, over the road, if that makes any sense. The steering is a little bit softer in the Sport S. And I kind of like that. Now, there's nothing wrong with the Mojave. I mean, if you're the type of person that's into a more sports car kind of feel, because that's what the firmer ride is really all about. You know, everybody that I've ever talked to that is into sports cars loves the road feel. They want to feel every nook and cranny in the road. I'm not that way so much. I'm always have been more of a seeker of a laid-back, kind of softer ride. So that's probably really the only area where maybe the Mojave falls behind the Sport a little bit as far as ride quality goes. Now, there's another thing in here, and it has to deal with technology, and it's the screen size on the radio. If I'm not mistaken, and I could be, all of the Mojaves come with the bigger, I think it's the 8.4-inch screen, something like that, but it's the bigger screen, the radio screen. I like that. I think that looks really good in the truck. Functionally, it makes it easier to use. You can see everything better. This one also comes with navigation. I like built-in navigation rather than having to attach your phone. The only issue with built-in navigation is obviously as roads change, as things change, it's gonna fall behind. You would have to update it. You have to pay for that. I'm not a big fan of that. Obviously, if you're using your cell phone, it's going to be up to date as frequently as Google or Maps or whatever app you might use updates them. But on some of those, you have to pay for the apps too, but it's nowhere near what it costs to update the navigation system in the Jeep Gladiator Mojave. But still, I like the big screen, and I like that it's built in so I can just punch everything in without having to mess with my phone when I'm out driving around. Color-wise, I have to talk about color. Both of my earlier Jeep Gladiators were more subdued. I had a Gobi color, which, by the way, I really do like, but it's not an in-your-face kind of color. And of course, the most recent one was the Sport S, and it was that brilliant white. Again, not a real in-your-face kind of color. This one is the Snazberry, and arguably, I would say the Snazberry is probably one of the most in-your-face colors that there are for the Jeep Gladiator. Some might argue the Hydro Blue is also pretty eye-catching, which I would agree it is. And then I think it's, Sarge Green? That one is pretty nice too, and those are probably my top three, with the Snazberry being number one for me, Hydro Blue, and then the green after that. So you're going to be noticed when you're out cruising around in it. I was noticed in the Sport S, so not quite as much as I have been in this one, because again, the Snazberry is just such an eye-popping color. The last thing I want to mention is mods. You know, one of my big concerns in going from the Sport S to the Mojave was what mods are there going to be available. I mean, this is a YouTube channel. My primary function in doing the channel is mods. I like to do stuff to the vehicles I have. I did a lot of things to the Sport S because there were a lot of things you could do. It was a fairly basic model, didn't come with a lot of stuff on it. And that's part of the reason that I got the Sport S, so that I could have things to do. That's one of the reasons I didn't go for an upper trim level like the Gladiator Mojave. However, I have figured it out that there are lots of things that you can do with the Mojave. I've made a couple other videos about what I'm going to do with it. Bumpers, lighting, maybe a sport bar on the back, potentially a bigger lift down the road. That would probably be in the time frame of years, though. I like the setup the way it is now as far as the height goes. It does come with a slight lift, and I think it's just enough to get the truck where it needs to be. So there are things that I can do with it. I don't think I'm going to run out of things anytime soon. It's just a matter of picking and choosing what I want to do, and of course, deciding how much money I want to spend on things like bumpers. I had looked at a front bumper, and pricing on that was pushing $2,000. That's for the aluminum version. I think aluminum is the way to go. It just helps keep weight down, gets it more equivalent to the stock setup. Last thing I want to do is put a bunch of weight on the front or the back of the truck and have it do this because I'm weighting it down, right? So there is a lot of stuff I can do. I'm not really concerned about that now. We shall see. Lots of things coming in the future. Anyway, I just wanted to get on here and answer the question, is the Jeep Gladiator Mojave the best trim level for the Jeep Gladiator? And in my opinion, again, heavily biased, I'm sitting in one, I would say yes. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. I'm sure there are folks out there who are going to disagree. What is the best trim level for you? I'd be curious to know. Also, real quick, I do have 2 additional channels. Rob Motive, all about Toyota Tacomas, and Rob Motive MT, all about mini trucks. Currently, the Hyundai Santa Cruz. Check them out, and if you're interested, please consider subscribing. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.